Zillow is in the news again by acquiring Showingtime, and Grant Cardone from the 10X Rule joins eXp Realty. We'll break it down all next on Toole Time. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon, and we are back with some real estate news. I mean, this is a lot of stuff going on this week. Yep. Zillow's in the news, eXp, Grant Cardone, Showingtime. So let's start with Zillow. And this just happened this week. So Zillow acquired Showingtime. And if you don't know what Showingtime is, it's basically the app that agents use. And they have most of the market share. I mean, there's other ones out there to schedule showings. And typically they integrate directly with the MLS. They acquired Showingtime for $500 million. What do you think about this, Sarah?
Wow, I mean, big shocker that Zillow's in the news again. Right?
Yeah, right now.
But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Showingtime is what everyone uses for the most part to go in and to schedule your showings. They did say that they weren't going to, I guess, require people to be Zillow Premier agents or have a special affiliated partnership with them in order to continue using it. Hopefully that remains the case. I mean, I think it would be, but yeah, it's another asset that they've gone on and acquired, and they're just building their portfolio.
Right. Well, that is a great observation, because my view of this is that they're just doing what they're going to do, right? This is part of their business plan, and it's another asset. Showingtime, years ago, there was another, I forget the name of the service, I think it was called eShowings, and the guy who owned it got in like a lot of legal trouble and then went out of business because he was stealing client data, and Showingtime was the only other option, and our firm had like just switched to it. I remember this vividly, so we were way ahead of it. So, you know, it's Zillow doing their thing, right? Zillow's a publicly traded company, and you know, if you are a member of like any sort of real estate groups, like I was on Par's group this morning, I saw all sorts of people in like coaching communities. They were losing their minds over this, like, well, what are you going to do? We can't work with Zillow, blah, blah, blah. And that's one way to respond. Mm-hmm. My view is that, great, Zillow's doing their thing. There's an opportunity to work with them or an opportunity not to. As an agent, what are you doing, right? Like, it's always like that, like, internal self-conversation. And, I mean, Zillow has been all over the news all week, right? Like, they have this video on Saturday Night Live that comes out. That's like, that funny. Was... If anyone saw that, Sarah sent it to me like the morning of, and it was like a fake commercial, like really funny stuff. Like, they have gone to a level that is past real estate. They're in like that Tesla category, Apple, Amazon, not in terms of like dollars and revenue and those sort of things, but notoriety. That's where they're going.
Right. Yeah, it's what everybody knows what Zillow is, and it's become bigger than itself.
Well, and really what's happening here, this is just another company disrupting real estate, right? Like, it happened, you know, over the past 2-3 years with companies like Compass and eXp. We're going to talk about them in a second. When Keller Williams came as an upstart in like the early 2000s, they had like this profit sharing model. That was like, people were up in arms about that. Mm-hmm. These are people running their business. And I love the agents that get stressed out, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, great. They're done. They're going to be out of the business, and we can just keep doing our thing and focusing on our plan. And that's what any good agent should be doing right now. And if we said it before, if you're not building your own brand, like, you're going to be in trouble, because that's what Zillow's relying on, because a lot of buyers are on Zillow right now.
Right. And I would say, like, from an agent standpoint, as long as it doesn't interfere with being able to go in and book showings the way that you're, you know, accustomed to doing so, or, you know, as long as it's like an easy switch over if they make a couple changes here or there, whatever.
They're just doing their, I mean, they're running a business, right? Now, I have no issue with that. And if you're running a business in the same space, you got to figure out how strategically you can get around them. And I mean, like, even if let's say they run all their own brokerages, they try to eliminate agents, how many homes are they going to sell around the country? 5%? 10% would be insane. There's still 90% of market share available. And that's what people don't get. They get worried about, oh, they're taking our leads and they're doing this other stuff, and that's not really the case.
When they have their paws in other things as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, aren't they
dot loop?
Yep. Yeah. So, you know, they've got their paws all over the place.
Well, and a lot of people thought it was a data play to get more data. They've already got the data. Dot loop is the best data. If you own, like, because that tells you when the homes go under contract. Like, so you have real live pending sales data, and that's just what's going on right now. So, you know, my view of this is, yeah, it's big news. Sure, anytime someone buys any company for $500 million, like, big news, right? If you're in real estate, look at what you need to be doing besides being overly reliant on any single lead pillar, Zillow included, and figure out a way to outmaneuver them on the local level. I don't think it's rocket science here. And these disruptors, RE/MAX was a disruptor in the 80s. I was like 3 years old when they came on the scene, but that's not the point. I mean, it was a big deal because they changed the model, right? Now people you wouldn't even probably known that if I didn't say anything to you. I mean, it's like people forget really quickly because they disrupted the traditional brokerages that were out there, like Century 21s and some of these other companies. So it's just another disruptor. They're doing their thing, and real estate was ripe for this because the agents didn't innovate enough in the first place.
Sure.
So not stressed. What did you think about the Saturday Night Live commercial? That was like on every meme. The broke agent, I think, posted it 45 times, maybe.
Yeah, it was funny. Actually, my cousin sent it to me, and I was like, it was funny from the beginning, and then it gets to this one little section where like the inbound call goes over, and it was like a RE/MAX person that picked up in an office, and it was pretty funny. I liked it.
And that went wild, and I think the funny thing about it was too, there are people that will go on and look at Zillow just for fun, and there's like
Right.
there's that Instagram handle, what's it called, Zillow Going Wild, if you see, and it's like, look at this house, it's got 45 bathrooms and all
Right.
this other stuff. So sometimes I'm a little jaded how fascinated are people with real estate, and
Right.
and I think that was one of the better things I've seen from SNL in a while. That was
Yeah.
pretty good.
When it was funny how then they're like doing the callbacks and being like, "Hey, you inquired about this property," blah 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 blah. And it was just it made me laugh.
It was good. It was good. Good stuff. All right, so that's our Zillow segment. I think we're going to be doing this every week from now on, what it seems like. This was interesting, right? So if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, he's a best-selling author, wrote the 10X Rule, a lot of other books. So he is also, he has his hands in real estate in a couple different ways, and he is now joining eXp Realty to add nitro, those were his words, not mine, to the brokerage. What do you think about all this?
I mean, yeah, I think he is somebody who has his hands in a lot of different areas, and he has a lot of money to back different things up and to be able to go in a lot of different directions. So he's been in the real estate. He's dabbled in that in different areas for a while. So it's not like surprising that he would have something to say here, or that he would want to get in and make some changes.
I view this as like a celebrity endorsement, right?
Sure.
Like this guy's not out there selling real estate. If you don't like Grant Cardone, and we were talking about this before the show, so he's actually come out and said, hey, you should own your own house. And now he's joining up with EXP Real Estate. So, I mean, like that just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, what he does do is he's got a company called Cardone Capital where they have about $1.9 billion in assets that they manage, and they buy apartment buildings and multi-unit properties. And I think it's like 8,700 units. And he'll take public money and put it in there, and then there's a guaranteed return. So, like, yeah, that's great. But EXP is residential real estate brokerages. So anyone that you're getting as your celebrity endorsement, and they say don't buy houses, like, what kind of message are you sending to your agents? I think this is I get why he did it. I get why they did it. I don't think it really aligns with their strategy. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right. It's like when Bill Belichick was doing those Subway commercials. Like, I don't think he's eating Subway.
Yeah, I mean, it's inauthentic. I think that's a really good observation. And I mean, it's when you look at like the announcement, like this came out on Clubhouse. Have you been on Clubhouse yet?
No.
So I've been on it like twice because I have things to do, and it's like a voice only sort of, like you talk and they don't record it and so. Glenn Sanford, the CEO, and Grant were on there, and they said there's something big coming, and then this happened, but there's been like no other details about what this looks like. This to me is like, oh, hey, we got. Or have you seen the Barbara Corcoran endorse realtors? Have you seen that? Like, so
No.
From Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran, right? So she'll get on and like endorse realtors like, hey, I endorse so and so. It's the same thing,
right?
I think this is a horrible idea. If they're really serious about their agents, like it's cool that like, oh, we're going to 10x this, whatever. Like, what's going to happen after it? What I will say is EXP is innovating, and in the light of like COVID and the cloud-based brokerages and all that stuff, I do see that they're not going away anytime soon. But this is just another Zillow. They're just disrupting with a different model, in my view.
Sure.
We kind of feel the same way on this one. Good luck to Grant and EXP. Let's see how it goes. So Valentine's Day is coming up, right? So this is our local portion of the show here. So it's probably going to be a little different than this year. I'll probably forget to get my wife something and my kids and have to go out at the last minute. I don't know if that's how it goes in the Time and Hogue household. But so like we wanted to highlight some local businesses that have some cool Valentine's Day stuff going on. So Sarah, I know you had one or two in mind, and I got one as well. So why don't you share with the audience here?
All right, so Weckerlys is one of my favorite places in Philly. They do these really delicious gourmet ice cream sandwiches with all of these really fun flavors, and they came out with a Valentine's Day one that looks amazing. And every week, it's funny, my husband and I follow them on Instagram. So a majority of what we share to each other on Instagram is ice cream sandwiches. And we're like, have you seen this one?
True love right there. That's amazing.
So that looks great. And I highly recommend it. It could be a really fun little just dessert treat to get, whether I don't know if you're going to go out. There's a lot of restaurants that are doing different prefix menus and things like that. I know they're really pushing a lot of order takeout to support your local restaurants. But if you want to also get a fun dessert, I highly, highly recommend getting Weckerlys. You won't be disappointed. And if you are somebody that has, thank God I don't have any type of gluten issue, but thank God, but my brother-in-law does. So we're always aware of gluten-free things. You can't get the ice cream sandwiches usually, but they have a lot of really delicious, just ice cream flavors that you can get that are gluten-free. So,
gluten-free ice cream, that's living right there, right? That actually sounds pretty interesting. I think my kids would like it a lot more than I would. So just imagine you're in Sarah and Eric's direct messages of just ice cream sandwiches back and forth.
It's all ice cream
That is one of the funniest things I've heard in a long time. So what we came up with was we actually were there last weekend at La Collina in Bala, which we talked about them before, and they have live music there, a guy playing piano and all sorts of stuff. Italian places are usually pretty romantic, if that's what you're going for. On top of that, the food there, we had been there years ago. The food was really good, but what I liked the most was the service. They were really happy that people were there, and it felt like a place that wanted you to come in. And the live music is such a cool thing. Sixers game was on in the background, so that was speaking my language. So cool place to go to. Highly recommend it for Valentine's Day. You don't have to get, it's kind of on the edge of the city, so you can kind of meet in between. And you have a nice view of Manioc from the parking lot, which is also an extra bonus. So,
and I'm sure having some live music, especially these days, is one of those things that when you walk in and you actually hear it, you're like, oh my gosh.
I almost
haven't had this in a while.
I was like, what is this music? And then, and then I saw someone playing it. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, it's live.
Yes. Welcome to 2021. Live music is back, right? Woo! So very cool. So that's what we got this week. Thanks for watching, everybody.